Welcome, friends, to the Extra Player podcast. I'm joined by my good friends, Matt Ghosty and Fume. If you guys want to say a few words to introduce everybody to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 3. Excited to talk about Saros today.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? I have been playing Invincible Versus. I've also been watching the show. I binged it pretty much. I watched 3 seasons in like 2 weeks. Fantastic. Very excited to mention that later on.
Kid. And of course, I am Jay Plays Games, and I will be hosting today's show, however poorly. Um, First of all, we are going to get into Blood of the Dawnwalker. So, on the 28th of April, we got the Road to Launch event, and the release date was confirmed for the 3rd of September 2026. So very soon, really, just a few more months, and I'm very excited. They showed off some gameplay footage, just a 10-minute presentation, showed some recent builds focusing on the new protagonist, Cohen, and it highlighted his dual nature as a human by day and vampire by night. And that obviously ties nicely into the time mechanics. And the showcase detailed the 30-day and 30-night limit for Cohen to save his family. I find that to be a very interesting and more creative concept. I know it's been done before, but it doesn't happen very often. So I'm excited to see more on that. They showed us a combat overhaul, the special collaboration with former UFC champion Jan Blachowicz. I hope I pronounced that right. So he'll be there in motion capture for something or other. The day one edition includes the base game, steelbook, and physical world maps, and there's an Eclipse edition with the digital bonuses, including a world compendium, digital soundtrack, and a digital comic book. Collector's edition features all Eclipse bonuses, plus a directive figure and physical world map. And just a quick note, pre-ordering any edition grants you the Sangoran Wayfarer's armor set bonus. So yeah, it's looking like a pretty decent offering with obviously your average kind of tiers of different versions you can get. I'll probably just go for the standard or any steelbook edition because I do love me a steelbook. Matt, what do you have to say on Blood of the Dawnwalker? Are you excited?
Dude, I'm I'm so hyped for that game. I
Brilliant.
didn't expect it to be as controversial as it has become quickly online. Uh, I know a lot of people were really excited for it, and then I think this most recent showcase, some people were disappointed with
Mm.
a number of things, but two of the main things I saw is the price. Number one, it is launching at $70 USD, which is full AAA price. Um, and number two, I think people just thought it had like a healthy amount of jank to it. Um, and I think people were just hoping it would look a little bit more polished. For me personally, like I just think it looks really fun. I think it looks really creative and really new. While still building on obviously the foundations of The Witcher 3, which some of the team members came from. I'm two things that I'm really excited to try out, kind of like you mentioned. The time system, I think, could be really cool. I'm not saying it will be, but it could be in a way that, like, all of us who interact on social media, if you're playing with some friends or whatnot, like, I might one day choose to do something that Jay doesn't. And then uh, we get to like talk about that afterwards. And I was like, yeah, I made this decision this way and it played out this really weird way. And he's like, no way, I did it this other way and it came out that way. Kind of like how people play immersive sims. So I think that could be really cool. And then secondly, I really like the look of the combat. I agree that it does look a little bit janky and the animations and the feedback could use some cleaning up. But the whole like KCD thing where you need to block a specific direction or attack from a certain direction to kind of break your enemy's defense, I think is a really interesting concept that isn't really utilized a lot. A lot of RPGs boil down to hit things until they die or until their health bar goes away or maybe finding like a specific weakness, but actually having to like utilize different positioning or different attack directions and stuff. I think is a really interesting idea, and I'm looking forward to being able to try that out myself. So I'm hyped. Day one for me, Steelbook Edition for sure. And I'm hoping that that choice system is really going to provide a lot of interesting dialogue for people online to be able to kind of be like, I did this, you did this, how did it differ, and really invite future replays and playthroughs.
Nice. What about you, Fume? Are you excited for Blood of the Dawnwalker? Is it a day one or how are you
So
feeling?
I've been watching it. I've been looking at all the showcases they've been doing over the past few months, and I think it looks awesome. I think it looks great. I think that the main character looks cool. That's always something that's important to me is I need a cool looking main character, so I just feel like, I can get into the game and the character and stuff. But the combat, as Maddie said, it does look good. I kind of like how there's some weight to the swings and stuff. And in the middle of it, you can use your vampire powers, which makes it different. I'm gonna have to get it in my hands and see how it plays for myself because if it doesn't feel the vibrations and the controllers and all that stuff's gonna feel good. The 30-day limit, I was thinking about that. Like, what if what if I put my controller down and I walk away for like 2 hours and 2 days goes by and I lose time and stuff. So I don't know. This is probably going to be a game where I wait for reviews because it's like a new IP, so I don't know how good it's going to be. With new games in a series, I can kind of expect based on prior games. But I did the same thing with Pragmata. I was just like, I'm not going to pay attention to it too much until it comes out. I see reviews and gameplay and stuff, and it turned out that was fantastic. So I think this has the possibility because if it's Witcher 3 devs, they cooked with that game. That is one of the best games I ever played in my life. If they bring that knowledge over and apply it, with all how far they've come since 2015, 11 years ago when Witcher came out, it could do something good. But it did look a little janky from like Matt said. I did see some weird animations and games nowadays they just do better after a couple of updates and some time and
True.
DLC.
True.
So it's probably going to be a wait for me unless it is some kind of like Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3 big. So that's where I'm at. I think it looks good, but I'm going to wait and see.
Fair play. I'm with Matt. This is going to be a day one for me, but I definitely get where you're coming from. Some of the footage I've seen does look a bit janktastic, and I have heard some discord around the combat in particular, but I didn't notice that it had backlash that you mentioned, Matt. I hadn't known that there were a lot of voices speaking out more negatively about it. I saw a lot of people kind of in our kind of side of things that were quite hyped for it, but probably existing Witcher 3 fans. But yeah, I think the smart move with anything really is to wait, but I have no patience and I will be wanting to play it day one. So if it releases in a shoddy state, me and Matt will be the first to tell you on the pod as soon as we can, and Fume can laugh at us and then play it when it's good.
It could be like Pragmata.
Well, I do think that I think it will be good, but I do agree with you that it could be a matter of time. Because even
Yes.
The Witcher 3, a lot of people forget, The Witcher 3 did launch to huge success, but it was actually quite a different game if you played it on day one than a few months down the line. Like a lot
Yeah.
did get changed and overhauled. So I do think that is the standard, especially for games as huge as RPGs. Kingdom Come Deliverance being another example. Not so much of an overhaul, but again, lots of updates, quite a few changes throughout its kind of lifetime. So I think, yeah, it's going to be good at the beginning, but it will be grand a little while down the line, much like again Crimson Desert.
Exactly. The main
Yeah.
thing that I want is like the quality of life features. A lot of games there might be some frustrating things like short inventory, like Crimson Desert, where there wasn't enough inventory space, or Wuchang 5 mentioned this before, Fallen Feathers, how if you died you couldn't restart right at the boss. Just little things like that something might piss me off, and it might piss me off too many times where I'm just like, fuck it, and I just am done.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, well, definitely the early player feedback, I'm sure the devs will be paying close attention to. So any changes that needs to be made, hopefully get made early. It's kind of sad though when you think about it that we have to consider these things.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people think it's not good enough, but it is the reality of our situation, and I'm willing to kind of work with it. But Matt, so anything more you've got to say on Blood of the Dawnwalker, or are you guys ready to move on to the next topic?
I got two quick things. Just Fume for you. The timer does not progress like literally 30 days. It's like
Okay.
you have to interact with specific quests, and it's like you're making a calculated choice,
okay.
right? So you're like, cool, if I pick this quest, it's gonna progress the time like 6 hours, and it might give me this stuff, and I want to do this stuff, or I can progress it like 2 hours and go do this stuff. It's kind of locked like that. So you're not
I like that a lot.
Yeah, you're not like literally forced to rush through it. And then the other thing is, I just want to talk about like the role of publishers in games like this. The game is being published by Bandai Namco. For those of you that don't know, that's the same publisher that publishes all of From Software games. And they are notorious for bad pricing. So I know a lot of people have been calling out Rebel Wolves and saying like, why are you pricing your debut title at $70 when like this would probably do better at 50? That's not up to them. Like it is, but like at the end of the day, it's the publisher that negotiates all of the deals for how much it's going to be sold for on specific storefronts and via specific distributors. So like if you have a problem with it, totally cool. I respect it. It's a lot of money, but the devs are not the ones to take that one out on. You need to take that up with Bandai Namco. It's the same thing like with
Right.
the Tarnished Edition releasing on the Switch too. They're releasing Elden Ring like what 4 years late, 5 years later, whatever, and it's like launch price for
Yeah.
like a game that's now a couple years old. Has a little bit of new
Yeah.
content, and bug fixes and stuff, but like it's the same publisher and they're doing some shitty pricing. So I've just seen that discourse too. That people are like, why are they launching it so expensive? And it's like it's not up to them. Like their job is to make a good game. Their publisher is the one that steers the price. So yeah, those are the two things I just wanted to clarify.
Fair play, to be honest. That is a shame when the kind of devs get the heat for bullshit practices from big corporations, but unfortunately it happens. I'm not surprised though with what you said about the tarnished edition, and I'm not surprised that Bandai Namco do this practice. Most publishers really do. They want to make as much money as they can off of their products. They don't really care about us. The best we can do is not pay for the stuff, but that
Yeah.
tarnished edition is going to sell like hotcakes on the Switch too. So unfortunately, they probably won't learn their lesson this time around, but maybe one day.
I'm gonna buy it. I'm very excited.
But have you got Switch too, Fume?
I do have a Switch too. Yeah, I
Oh
actually got it.
damn! Okay.
My wife went to Target 3 days after it released and found the Mario Kart bundle, so I got super lucky.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're lucky, man. I'm still waiting to get mine. Probably not until summer. Okay, so next topic up on the docket is the Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, releasing July 9th and built from the ground up on the latest Anvil engine, same engine as Shadows, and it brings significant graphical, technical, and gameplay overhauls. Features a new parry-driven system, visceral takedowns, and more fluid attack combos. Players can now crouch freely, as better movement systems similar to what we found in Shadows and Mirage, I believe, and includes new moves such as manual jumps, side ejects, etc. Also, the Jackdaw got new secondary weapons like shrapnel barrels and 8-pounders, and you can also recruit specific officers like Deadman Smith and Lucy Baldwin, who provide unique combat abilities that are completely original to this iteration of the game. So I am super excited for this. I've been excited since it was even a rumor. Hype has gone through the roof since I've seen it. I was very worried that Ubisoft has let us down a lot recently, and I was very, very worried that they were gonna mess this up the same way they did Skull and Bones and cancelled one of my most anticipated remakes, being Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. I will never ever forgive them for that. But this remake is it's a good kind of, what do you call it, like consolidation prize, I guess. Like, oh, you're not going to get your childhood dream, but we'll give you this. And I'm saying, okay, I'll take it, Ubisoft. You haven't lost me completely yet. Fume, what do you have to say about this game? Are you excited for it?
Yeah, so I'm excited. So when I switched from the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One, this was the first game I picked up. And it wasn't the Assassin's Creed or the tropical setting that really got me into it. Like, I always love Assassin's Creed, but it was the ship fighting and the combat and all that, because it felt so good. And I've never played a game before where I was like actually a pirate, because for some reason there wasn't like a good one before that. But
it wasn't,
just, dude, the combat, I got so into it. I took down all 4 legendary ships. Some of those were so hard, and I just was so addicted to upgrading my ship and doing all this stuff. And Edward Kenway's a great character. I actually don't remember anything about the story, so it's going to be nice to re-experience it completely. Yeah, all I kind of remember is that he wasn't an assassin or a Templar.
Yeah, it was interesting though for that reason. I thought that was really cool. Yeah.
And I like the overhauled combat. I do like, the more that I think about it, I do like how they're not going to do it as an RPG, because when you get that Assassin's Creed formula right, if you look at something like Ezio's trilogy, that is when it's at its peak, between all the different variations of missions in the story. So I think they can take the classic formula, upgrade it like they did with the Cutlass combat and stuff, and just bring it up in the new engine and just make it as good as it can be. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be really good. That's going to be a day one for me. I already have it pre-ordered. I got the deluxe edition because that black suit that he has for the pre-order.
Yeah,
they get me every time. I am a pre-orderer. Yeah, it's bad, man. It's bad. But
you and
I'm
me
excited.
both, Fume. You
Yeah,
and me both. I'll be pre-ordering it soon as well.
yeah, it looks good. It looks really good, and it looks like it's staying true. I have been seeing some people online complaining about certain scenes, and it's just like, I think the scenes are just happening at different times of day, so that's why it
Mhm.
doesn't look the same. Like, there's this one scene in the original, they showed a screenshot. It's like at dusk. It's the sun's going down and stuff. But in the remake, it's being shown at like the middle of the day. People were complaining about that online. It's like, shut the fuck up. Just enjoy it. It's not a big deal.
Jesus Christ, man.
So
People will complain about anything these days. Matt, how are you
exactly.
feeling about it?
Why do you got to bring up people complaining and then instantly swap to me like I'm about a complaint?
That's not what,
Oh, let's hear it.
that's not what I meant, man.
Oh no! In all honesty, you guys heard me last episode. I was doubting, super doubting. Couple things off the bat. I'll start positive. It looks gorgeous. Like,
Mm.
hats off to them. The environments. I think the facial animations, like all that stuff that we had expressed concern about via shadows, looks amazing. So again, credit where credit is due. That looks really good. What were a couple other things? Oh, the bonus content that they're including, whether it's the new crew members that you can have, and as well as some of the new side stories they're talking about telling, I think also sound really good. I love that they're like expanding on things and they aren't just like making new stuff like completely out of the blue. I think it's really cool that they're going to try and tell more stories with the same characters, um, rather than like really trying to just go crazy and like totally change the flow of the story and all this stuff. I think there's definitely room to add in some more. So those two things I was super excited about. I like how they changed the combat. I like that they kept in chain killing. So for those of you that don't know, in the new game, when you pull off a parry and a counter kill, you can only chain up to 4 enemies instead of just like infinitely chain, which I think is a good middle ground. So you can kind of like use it strategically. Say you're surrounded by like 4 brutes and a bunch of normal enemies, you could take out all the brutes and then go back to normal fighting with the rest of them. It looks like you can use the rope dart more consistently in combat. A couple things like that I think are really good changes. But for the things that I don't like, I still think whatever they did with the Anvil engine post really Unity, but technically Syndicate, and honestly even Unity, but this is just an old fan at this point, just yapping to yap. I just think that the parkour and the physics looks like trash. Like it looks stilted, it looks clunky, it looks like I can see where the animations connect and like it's the same thing in combat. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to add these like literal breaks in animations so that way it can go to the next animation when like you've seen plenty of clips from AC4 when you used to counter, it like did like a cool slow motion blur thing, so you knew you hit the counter. It Why is that not the same in the remake? Like that was cool. Like why don't we just go back to that? And then the same, they did a side by side, or someone did a side by side of the parkour, and I understand that the original is slower and it's heavier, but it just looks like way better, and I like it's so smooth in the original that whatever they did to the new Anvil engine physics, it just doesn't work. Like it looks really sloppy and it just bothers me. But it's a shame because I think there's a lot of good in this remake. And I have also pre-ordered it. I wanted the Steelbook, so I went to GameStop, picked it up. And I'm actually really excited. I just wish those two things they could fix, because if they could fix those, I think we could actually see a return to form for Assassin's Creed. But I'm worried over the long haul, since like combat and parkour are literally two of the pillars of the franchise. If those two things don't look satisfying and good to engage with over the 30, 40, 50-hour playthrough you're going to have, it's going to bother me at some point. I mean, some of the animations just aren't even the same. Like, uh, again, this is really nitpicky, but just like as an example of what I'm talking about, when he does the 3 steps, like in classic AC, there's like 3 boxes usually stacked up towards one another before you go to a higher platform. When he does that, he used to not be able to reach the next platform. He had to grab with his hands and then pull himself up. In the new one, he just like levitates like 7 feet upwards and lands. And I'm like, why did we do this? Like, you had the answer and you just like changed it for no good reason. But like I said, I think that's just a holdover engine wise, rather than like an intentional design decision to like make the remake not as good as the original. That's just, those are the things that I noticed.
No,
And I
I
wonder,
totally get. Go on, Fume. Sorry.
I wonder, I don't know what build of the version we saw. Like that, those could be old animations we saw, and like they were getting that ready for a long time. And then when the game finally comes out, it might be completely new or fixed and not look as janky. And that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping, because now that you pointed it out, if I go back and watch the trailer, I'm definitely going to notice that,
Yeah.
because it's probably not going to look as smooth.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'm at is like it was actually, like I said, I am very impressed with what they did. But there are, like, when you put them side by side, I just I don't know how much work it would take. Again, I'm not a game developer, but like those are the two things that I wish they could capture, because I think it's core to like Edward Kenway. He's this smooth, hyper experienced, swashbuckling hero who, like, he's just suave, he's so cool. And like when it looks clunky and unpolished, I think it kind of takes away from that, like, that guy of who he is, that feeling.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, like you guys said, the so many things look really, really good. And I think it's actually gonna be probably a really good jumping off point and probably a really good game for a lot of people. And I hope that Ubisoft is able to take a lot of good from it and kind of rekindle a lot of maybe the goodwill that they've lost with their hardcore community over time.
I totally agree. I think it will do well, but I do notice what you say about those changes in animations. I saw the side by side that you're talking about with the parkour from the previous game, and I did notice that it's a lot faster, but the animations do look unrealistic, unnatural, and a bit clunky. For example, there's a bit where Edward is like diving into the hay, and in the old game, it looks really natural. He just dives forward and he goes into the hay. In this one, it's like he's getting pulled forward as he's diving, so it looks completely inhuman. It looks like he's flown into the into the hay. So that, I noticed that, and I did think, oh, like I was thinking at first, oh, this looks good. It's so much faster. I like that. And then I kind of saw the animations and I thought, oh, that does look a bit rough. So I'm definitely with you on that. I hope, Fume, what you said is the reality of the situation, and that they are working, and that the final version fixes some of this. I do doubt that, though. I'll be very honest, because similar issues I saw in Shadows, some of those animations did look a bit unnatural, like as if they were almost clipping into position. They look like as if the engine isn't based on natural physics, but more staged animations, if that
They
makes
look
sense.
stiff. They look stiff
Yeah,
too.
stiff, and what's the word? Like perform, like it's performative, like as if it's not really happening. I don't know. Obviously, none of it is really happening, but
It just
this
doesn't feel natural. Like a body
it
would
doesn't
move like
feel
that when
natural.
they're
That's
when they're
it
jumping in
doesn't.
the
It's
hay.
completely unnatural, man. But hopefully Ubisoft has their eyes on that, and if not in this version of Assassin's Creed, maybe they'll update or get a new engine, a new I don't know, maybe start using Unreal Engine 5 if people keep complaining.
Oh, man.
There's just so much issues with it, and I feel like that Unreal Engine 5 is not the end.
No, it's definitely not, bro. I just wanted to upset some people with that one. Enjoy the anvil while it lasts, guys, because Unreal will replace it. No, I'm
Unreal
joking.
does look good, though. I will give it that. It does look good.
I would even
It
go
looks good. Yeah.
I would even go so far to say is the Anvil engine is looks almost just as good in like
Mm.
the visual department.
It
Like,
does look really good. Yeah.
full credit. They really did impress me there. Like if they had this physics stuff and animation stuff like on lock, I would be shouting at everybody, please purchase this game because it looks great. I just worry that, over a long period of play, uh, those small things might start to add up to where you're like, it just doesn't, these little things start to check off in your brain to where you're like, it used to, I was okay with it at first, but 30 hours in, like, oh, here comes that really weird animation that I don't like or whatever. It happens. I'm sort of here now. I'm totally yapping. This is crazy.
But you're making a good point. No, you don't, man. You're good. Okay. Next on the list is update on the Sony licensing situation. So for those of you that aren't fully aware of this, I'm just going to do a quick summary of what's happened here, because this was kind of news to me until recently as well. So as of May 2026, the primary Sony licensing situation involves a recent controversy and subsequent clarification regarding digital rights management, DRM, on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 consoles. In late April 2026, users discovered what appeared to be a 30-day license check for digital games purchased after March 2026 firmware update. Early reports suggested consoles would need to connect to the internet every 30 days or players would be locked out of their games. Sony has since officially clarified the following. One-time verification. Contrary to early fears of recurring monthly checks, Sony confirmed that new digital purchases only require a single one-time online check to authenticate the license. Sorry if I sound like I'm speaking for Sony. This is just me reading what they're saying. Once this initial verification is complete, the license becomes permanent and the players can continue to play their games offline without further interruptions. This policy only applies to digital titles purchased after the March 2026 update. Games already in your library and physical disc-based games are completely unaffected. Okay. Industry experts speculate this measure was introduced to combat refund fraud, where users would download a game, go offline, then request a refund while still being able to play the local copy. Okay, so that makes some sense. What do you guys think of this? I have some bits I could say on it, but I will let Matt open this one up.
Uh,
It's a lot of can.
yeah, it's been some drama, that's for sure.
Mm,
First thing I want to say is, yeah, it does suck. In general, DRM, like, it does suck. Regardless, across the board, it sucks that companies have to check, like the same way when you're at Costco or you're at a Walmart or something, and you got to walk out and you got to show them your receipt because some people have tried to steal stuff. Like, it sucks. It's essentially the same thing with DRM. So just want to get that out the way. I'm on the side of everybody that says DRM sucks. Secondarily, stop trying to steal stuff, and they won't have to check you for it. Me as someone who plays only physical games on their PlayStation, if they're available, it won't really affect me because my license to play is the disc. When I put it in, that's the authentication that I bought it. Secondarily, I guess, stop reporting misinformation, guys. I've seen so many people say that if you didn't play games after 30 days, your entire library would just be wiped, like gone. Like, just genuinely rage baiting. I'm like, no, like, it just needs to check that you own the game. This was before we even knew that it was a one-time check. Even if it was every 30 days, your games would not disappear. They would just be unplayable until you connected to the internet again. Which, if you buy games online, you had to use the internet to download them. So, like, but that's not even the case. Basically, how it works is, like Jay said, you purchase the game, some period of 15 days after that, if you're connected to the internet, it authenticates that you did in fact buy the game and have not requested a refund, and you're good to go. You can play it offline forever after that. If you don't want to do that, buy a physical copy. Like, that's your way around it. And just across the board, this is a thing on pretty much all online marketplaces. They all have different, like, policies around it. Steam is probably the most open because Steam does have DRM, but most companies implement their own. If you've heard of Denuvo, it's the same thing, where they're basically just checking your license to play the game to combat piracy. I know a lot of people are unhappy about it. I get it, right? Like, it does kind of suck because it's another layer of control that the company has over your ability to use the thing that you bought. But like a lot of things that we've been seeing recently, it's a result of people doing crappy things and the company exercising their rights to, like, force people to purchase the product that they're selling. So it's a layered thing. I do think that DRM sucks on the whole, and I feel for the people that it will affect. But ultimately, most companies do this, and like 93% of the world has access to internet once every 30 days at least, based on the studies that I looked up. And so if you don't want to deal with it, buy a disc. If you don't care, just, there you go. Like, stop spreading your misinformation online, I guess, It just got way out of hand really fast.
The misinformation got me at the start too. I will admit that. There was a lot of it going around. And I like, honestly, when I first saw it, I just chalked it up to Sony's hubris as being, the market leader in the video game industry right now, because I know Nintendo's big and Nintendo's, but like when I talk about video games with, someone who I see out casually, it usually leads to PlayStation 5. Like, I feel like that's a lot of what people play on nowadays. That is the most popular. That's the main place to stay. And I just thought it was a product of them knowing that Xbox is no longer the competition. They can get, away with something like this. And what are we going to do? Nothing, because we still want to play video games on the best place that is available to play video games, in most people's eyes. But in a way that goes against that is I wouldn't really pay attention to this because I'm always online. I always buy my games, so I don't really worry about things like that. So it wouldn't affect me. And it's really more of my view on it is the principle of what they're doing in what I thought they were doing. I was just like, they're just taking advantage because they can. They know there's nothing we can do. So that's what pissed me off. Not actually the online check. I mean, that is super annoying, but like Matt said, we're always online. We're always connected, at least where we are. So I don't know. It's a weird situation. It sucks. I'm happy that it turned out to be, one of the better case scenarios where it's just one online check and then you're good to go. But if PlayStation, continues to stay number one without any competition, something like this could actually become a reality. The market just needs to have better competition. Xbox needs to go forward again. I think they need to bring their exclusives back to really shake up what's going on. So yeah,
that would actually be a good shout for Xbox to actually get back into the competition. And we'll probably get into some more stuff about Xbox later on in the podcast. But Asha Sharma, she does seem like she's trying to put them back into a competitive place. So fingers crossed, for the sake of the whole industry, they actually do manage to put Xbox back in league with Sony, because they're really not at the moment, which is a real shame, especially with all the backing of Microsoft. In terms of DRM, basically, Fume, everything you said is how I feel about it. It doesn't really affect me as somebody that's terminally online on the PlayStation. I barely even turn my PlayStation off rest mode. I've always got the updates going in the background. I'm always logged on, so this DRM check wouldn't really affect me. And my Wi-Fi connection is pretty solid, so even if it was needed, I wouldn't like it. And that is something I'd like to point out. It's not something I really stand by or want to support, but in terms of my personal life, it's not going to affect me. But on principle, I'm not a fan of it, and I don't like this kind of big brother, the eye always watching you, trying to make sure you never do anything out of pocket. I agree again with what Matt said, though. People that are out there stealing and pirating stuff, please stop. But you're not going to listen to us, because if you were, you wouldn't be doing it. So there's probably no point in us saying anything. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. It sucks, but it is the reality. And I'm hoping with some healthy competition, these kind of quality of life, because that's what they could be termed as, there could be improvements to make things better for gamers who don't have a great Wi-Fi connection and can't log in all the time, so that they're not penalized for the crimes of other people, because they're paying customers. I hope that things develop in that. So I definitely get the outrage, and I'm supporting you. I'm with you on that. This nice segue into Sony's age verification in Europe. So again, I'm just going to give you guys a quick little rundown. Sony is rolling out mandatory age verification for PlayStation Network users in the UK and Ireland, set to become fully enforced by June 2026. It's required for social features. Users must verify their age using a government ID, facial scan, or mobile data to retain access to voice chat and direct messaging. While social features will be locked for unverified accounts, access to single-player games with PlayStation Store will remain open. In a broader legal context, the European Commission recently cleared Sony's video game developer and publisher licensing agreements. Sony removed previously restrictive clauses that forced licensees to have their games manufactured exclusively by Sony or prevented them from working with unauthorized third parties. So that was actually, cut that out, guys. That had nothing to do with anything, and I don't know why I read it.
Well, now we know.
Sorry. The main point is age verification. I am from the UK, so this will affect me directly. I've already seen things like this rolling out, but they haven't affected me. It's funny because me and Fume were just having a quick conversation before, and Matt, I think you were present for that. I can't remember, but we were talking about how age verification has become more of a thing all around the world, and it is quite worrying. In England, any UK citizens probably know, some of you might not if you're clean, but watching any adult content online now requires you to give up your personal information to some third party analysis. I don't even know what. because of basically protections that I think the government has put in to protect children. And I think this has now moved into the gaming sphere to stop minors from playing adult content. While I understand the good nature behind it, it is disturbing that our government, and I'm not getting political, this is just my opinion on this game related thing. It is disturbing to me that the government be stepping in to take control of what should be parental responsibility. And I think in 2026, people are starting to forget parental responsibility is still a thing, is still legally enforced. You still have the right to raise your child how you see fit, so long as you're not causing them any harm, etc. I don't like that the government is essentially saying to us, we don't trust you protect your own children, so we're putting in these restrictions. My honest opinion, as somebody that grew up in the UK, is kids will find their way around nonsense things, especially if the parents aren't educating them towards it. But also, a lot of these things naturally become a part of a child's life, not necessarily because of their parents, but because the environment that the government still kind of enables, both here and abroad, to expose children to violent and sexualized content from a young age, even through something as simple as advertisements and just things that children can see. They can't be, they can't censor everything. So this, inane censorship online. Lots of kids were even saying when they released this, BBC did some sort of interview with a bunch of kids that were taking pictures of random things and still getting past the age verification. So all you're doing is put an extra step for no reason. I think they might have patched a lot of this now, but again, anybody with a VPN can still get around these things and can still watch adult content online. In this country, if you get a VPN and you've got a PlayStation and you kind of lock it to a different nation, you still can get around these kind of things. So it's all you're doing is upsetting law-abiding citizens, because anybody that wanted to do something you didn't want them to do will find a way around because they'll know how. So that's my 2 cents on it. Without getting political, it just feels, again, very authoritarian, very much, why is these corporations and our government so in our business? It stinks of a different objective to the one that's being sold. I'm not objecting to protecting children from adult stuff, but as again I said, my parents protected me from it as a child, and
Yep.
I fully trust anyone with invested interest in their child to be able to protect them from these things, either through advice, censorship at home, or speaking to outside parties to protect your child, essentially, like other kids' parents, and just vetting who your children hang around.
Yeah.
Children are always going to see things they probably shouldn't, unfortunately, but I don't think it's the government should be taking this much responsibility and then putting the pressure on corporations like Sony to do these kind of things, because all it does is upset people and is going to make people less likely to want to enter the ecosystem. PlayStation's prices are already skyrocketing. This is just going to be another step. Why should I pay £600 for a machine that I won't own anything on and won't be able to buy anything on unless I give away my personal details? So that's my 2 cents on it. Which one of you guys has something to say?
Go ahead, Fume.
Yeah. So, you know, conceptually, I understand why maybe someone would want to stop children and people from seeing things they shouldn't. But it's just like it's more about what it stands for at this point. Like we know, it's just not about like trying to have kids have age verification to protect them. We know that it's more about surveillance and things like that. Like we're not stupid people. I might sound like someone who's a conspiracy theorist, but we see history. We know what governments do. We know exactly how the world works. They're taking this database of your IDs to try to catalog you. They're putting it in all their systems so they can see you on their cameras and stuff. And it just comes down to just like this crazy state of us being a surveillance state, and this is just the start of it in a tiny way. So I hate it. I think it's stupid. You shouldn't have to put in your ID to do anything on the internet, where one of the biggest things about the internet is anonymity. That's a good thing, because it just is. So I really don't have too much to say on the topic. I hate it. Governments do shitty shit all the time, so it sucks. That's just how it is.
How about you,
But-
Matt?
I mean, I'll even go a step further. I just think it's plain predatory. Like,
Yep.
I think companies should have zero access to their consumers' data. Like in general, right? Like this is like goes way beyond that. Unless it's something like a weapon or something that could be used for like legal harm. Like I understand that, right? Like you should have to give up some sort of anonymity to own something that could potentially really harm someone else. But like when it comes to children, just accessing content, like not only are you giving data to the government, you're giving data to the corporation. So then the corporation knows that there's children utilizing or accessing this content. And they can use that for all sorts of things, right? Whether it's ads, whether it's predatory sales, like all sorts of things that they could do with this data that they're willing, like you were willingly handing to them. So there's no legal repercussions for this either. Discord did it. I don't remember if they kept it intact or people gave enough backlash and they stepped off. But like I said, I think it's definitely bad on the government's part. But like Fume said, they probably already have a lot of your data. I think it's way worse to be giving this to like a third party private company that now has access to those databases. We kind of give up a lot of that stuff with like birth certificates and all these other things. And, they have data on like where we go to school and all this kind of stuff because it's reportable things to the government that they have. But the government actively incentivizing you to give over data to companies is the part that I'm like I already have like a lot of problems with the government, what they do across the world, but like I really don't trust corporations, like really don't trust them. So like if you want me to give stuff to them, you can get the heck out of here. Like this is just crazy. And like Jay said, parents should be involved with their children's lives, especially if they would have a problem with their children accessing this type of data, this type of media. And if they don't care, well, that we've turned over the raising of children to parents since the beginning of time. No reason we should stop now, in my opinion. It's not the role of the government to step in and start doing that. So I hope, at some point this changes, but it does look like it's going to be something that's going to be needing to be actively combated by consumers going forward. Whether it's like the thing we mentioned before, whether that's via pirating to get around these sorts of things, this would be a case where I could see people stepping in and saying, I want to experience games with my kids, or I want them to experience a certain game. And I'm totally okay with them having access, but I don't want to give my children's data to Sony in this case. So I'm going to go and do something else. I get that. And I think that's a totally reasonable argument to make around that sort of thing.
And with both of you on that, it's scary and it's not good. I don't know. I think we've covered everything I can say on it. Especially being a UK citizen, I'm particularly kind of annoyed about this because it just seems to be going from strength to strength. And I don't know if we might have to do some sort of strike action and just kind of, what did you call it? Band together and refuse to purchase Sony products until they change things. That's the only thing that they'll respond to. But I guess if they keep pushing it any harder, we'll see. But it isn't nice. This ties in kind of nicely to Microsoft dropping the price of Game Pass, kind of a slap in the face. Of Sony buggers it one side and Microsoft is making a good move for the people on the other. I haven't heard, actually, that's interesting. I haven't heard anything about whether Microsoft will be doing this age verification thing in the UK or anything either. So I'll have to look into that one for the next pod. Very interesting topic of conversation if Microsoft is managing to forego that. Following the leaked internal memo from the new Microsoft Gaming CEO Asha Sharma, first reported by The Verge on April 13th, 2026, Game Pass Ultimate has dropped from $29 or $30 essentially to $29.99 or £23 to $23.17. PC Game Pass has reduced from $16.50 to £13.50 and to what the hell am I reading here? Oh my God. You know what it is? It's because I'm trying to read in both flipping currencies. I'm just going to start that again quick. So Game Pass has basically dropped from $30 to $23. PC Game Pass has dropped from $16.49 to $13.99, and the other tiers, as far as I can see, remain unchanged. So it's nice to see after that memo that Asha Sharma was made good on her word and did actually step back those prices. It feels like it's a bit late, but it's good. It's a good
Better late
move
than
in the
never.
right direction. Exactly. That's exactly the word I should have used. Yeah, it's better late than never. I'm happy with this because I recently resubscribed and it's like they did that just for me. So I'm going to take that as, I did my piece, my solidarity stood out. And as soon as I returned, they dropped that price. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Microsoft, for listening to me. What do you guys think of this?
Oh, this is great. This is awesome because what Game Pass is supposed to be is a good deal. It's a good deal. You're going to get all these good games for a good price. But what the price it was at, $30, that's crazy, especially if you add that up with all the other subscriptions you're paying for, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all that kind of stuff, DoorDash, all the stuff that you have a
Premium.
Yeah, exactly. And everything has
to drop that price, bro. That's so expensive. YouTube Premium is more expensive than any other streaming service I pay for, and it's YouTube. I don't understand that at all.
I actually think that one is worth it. I love YouTube Premium. I use it. I use it all the time. Not having ads is
so
fantastic.
do I. I use it begrudgingly. I just don't understand how YouTube can be more expensive than Netflix and Prime and not Now TV and Crunchyroll. Yeah, it's like £25.
Wait. Are you talking about YouTube Premium or YouTube TV?
So YouTube Premium family plan, I think, is like $28 now. It just went up.
Oh, the family plan. Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah, because I was paying 23 for me and my wife to both have it, and it just went up to 28. And I was just like, dude, or something like that. It was just a crazy fucking jump that I was like, that's insane. But I wasn't gonna cancel it because it's YouTube Premium. It's too good.
I don't think I'm paying for the family plan, and it's still more than 20 quid.
Mine is.
Maybe I don't know if it's
different here.
Mine is $15.
Yeah, that's what it is. If you're per,
that should be about £10 to £12 for me then. But maybe I'm paying for the family plan. Am I?
Jay,
I need to. I think I might
have an iPhone. Did you buy it through the iPhone? So when you buy subscriptions through the iPhone, they charge extra. Yeah. They charge an Apple fee. Yeah. So that's one thing you should realize. I realized that when I was paying for something, I paid for something and I was getting charged $5 more than the actual subscription cost. So then I canceled it through my iPhone and went to the actual site, and it was $5 cheaper. I think it was YouTube Premium when I first got an iPhone. It was crazy. Yeah. There was an Apple tax.
I'm not doing it through Apple, but I'm going to have to look in. I'll check my YouTube app later and get back to you guys. That's blown my mind. I might actually be paying more than I need to. But yeah.
But yeah, I think it's great. I think the price cut is great. I think when you do the math, when the new yearly price is, it just cuts Call of Duty's cost out, which is that's what they're removing from it. So it makes sense.
Okay. Good. Okay, good.
But this is a step in the right direction. It seems like Asha Sharma is coming in to bring Xbox to where it was before the Xbox One generation, when everything got crushed by Don Matrix Unveil. So I think it's going to be good. I think there's a step in the right direction. I think she's 60 to 90 days in, and she's done,
70,
new.
Yeah, she totally acts this is an Xbox thing, which is fantastic, because if you want to be in the console space, you need exclusivity. And I hate exclusivity because I want everything to come to PC, but I understand it, and it uplifts the gaming space. So good job. That's what I have to say. This is a good job.
Yeah. I mean, yes, good job. First off, good job. I always have my caveats. Just because this was brought to my attention and I thought it was kind of interesting. Me personally, I'm down to pay full price for Call of Duty to get cheaper Game Pass to play other stuff. My big question to people would be, what are you okay with them removing to get the price down to, say, $10? Like, what if it means you don't get Elder Scrolls 6 day one on Game Pass? Would people be okay with that? Or no day one Doom or the next id game on Game Pass? Just as a thought experiment. Someone brought that up to me, and I was like, because originally I was like, remove Call of Duty, I don't care. Like, I haven't played COD in 2 years. And if I want to play it, I'm down to buy it. It's all good. But then they were like, yeah, but what if some other day one game gets removed because they want you to pay full price? So I'm like, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. So like I said, I like what I'm seeing from Xbox. I think it's a step in the right direction. But my question for people would be I actually think this is the conclusion I came to. I think Game Pass would be best served if it became a flexible service where, say I could pay, I don't know, $8 a month, and I get access to every single day one first party Xbox game, but I get nothing else. Literally, I don't get any back catalog. I don't get anything. I would be down for something like that, because I personally have played a lot of the stuff on Game Pass, and I don't really care to go back and revisit it. Um, a lot of it's kind of bloat for me, but I know some people, uh, games are expensive and they use it to kind of go back and play older stuff like Remnant 2, like the older Battlefields, I believe, on there, the older Halos, stuff like that. And they might want that stuff. And maybe for them, for their $8, they can get that. And I just kind of see it as like an add to cart system where, like, say you go in, like, cool, I'm subscribing to Game Pass and I want all of the Xbox 360 back catalog. That's $10 a month. And I want all of the day one games, that's another $4 a month, and I want the Fortnite pass. That's another $3 a month. I wonder if people would be down for something like that, or if it's going to kind of keep its identity as this whole all or nothing thing. I know they already have it kind of with the tiers, but it's still kind of inflexible. Like, if you really want Game Pass, you're probably buying Ultimate, unless you're only buying it for online services. Then you might get the Essentials tier. But I would be really curious to see where they go from here. Is this going to be like we're actually going to be removing Xbox first party titles on day one and they're only coming 6 months later or a year later, like Call of Duty? Or is it really just going to stay everything but Call of Duty and we're going to keep it at whatever the price is now, $22 a month? I think there's a lot of different ways they could go from here. And their next move is going to tell us a lot about how they see the future of the service going. So, like, what, in your opinion, what would you guys be? Let's say you have to remove something and it'll drop the price $3 a month. What would you take out?
Ubisoft Connect. Throw that shit in the trash. You don't need that service.
EA Play as well, I guess, by that. Like, you don't really need that either. Yeah. But my thought when you say that is like, that was the whole point of Game Pass to me, was having all this for such a small price. So it's like, do I want to remove anything for a price reduction, or would I rather just get rid of it because it's not that good of a deal anymore? That's the way my head, because it's like, oh, you can take £3 off, but you don't get this anymore. And I'll be like, that was kind of the selling point. I was really happy when they were introducing and bringing in all the Activision Blizzard stuff. It's adding value to this. And then they boosted the price, and now the value is not the same. Like, it just felt like something that was supposed to get better, and now it's in a weird kind of limbo. I'm resubbed now just because a few things have accumulated, so it makes it worth me going back into that ecosystem. But I'm fully prepared to unsub again. If I'm not using it, I'm not paying for it, So I like the price reduction. It is suitable for now, but I do feel like they're in a funny place, and it could go either way at this point, because it really depends on how they make this a valuable thing. And I think gamers now, with the economy to shit in most countries, a lot of people are penny pinching and are cutting back. I hear conversations at work all the time. Oh yeah, I've cancelled my Netflix, I don't watch it enough. Like, everybody's like wallets are hurting right now.
Yep.
So they need to make, the gaming companies need to make it worthwhile. And that, I do think this is like a good topic for a broader discussion that we can get into down the line. But it's like, where are they going to draw the line? Because we're not getting any richer. If anything, it seems like we're getting poorer and poorer as like citizens of Western society, just globally right now. The cost of living has skyrocketed in most territories, and the cost of resources due to various international disputes and wars have gone crazy. So entertainment products should not be raising their prices in this kind of international turmoil. And it feels like the video game industry, a lot of people have been saying it for a while, setting themselves up for a big fall if they continue to try and push us to spend more money on something that is not essential to life. Because a lot of people will start turning around and being like, even us, if it gets too much and life gets any rougher, we'd be like, yeah, I'm not really playing games, or I'm not buying them anymore. We'll be talking about games that, don't forget, there's such a huge back catalogue. I can see another culture coming out of people that only play existing old games because they'll be that much cheaper and worth investing in. Just the amount of people I see, I put out my tweets all the time. What are you guys going to pay this month? This is coming up. Anyone putting any pre-orders through, whatever? So many people say no because I've got too much shit to play. I'm not buying any more shit right now. But that's becoming my reality. I was always that guy, like you Fume, pre-ordering. But now I have to sit there and be like, am I going to get, because now I'm pre-ordering one game every month. It's ridiculous. I have to sit there and say to myself, I'm not paying for that. Some things I'd want to have. It's like, why would I buy that day one when I know I'm not going to play it until October? That can wait. And sometimes games that I planned to play day one back in the day, back in 2025, I still haven't even played now. So the whole price reduction and stuff is like neither here nor there if the value is being diminished. I think that taking away Call of Duty, it made sense, but that wasn't the point of Game Pass to me. The basic point I'm trying to say here, it was about the value for money and having all of this shit, even if I wasn't going to use it, or Ubisoft Connect, EA Play. Just like some days you might just want to jump into some old shitty sports game or whatever from EA from like back in the 20 whatevers. And now you could because you have it on Game Pass. If they remove that and drop the price, some people might be like, well, that was kind of the point I had it for and I was enjoying it for that. So, you know, it's tit for tat now. It's a bit sad. So I hope they can work it out.
Check out the subreddit Patient Gamers. It's just a whole community of people who wait for games to get patched, lower in price, have quality, all the things that I like to talk about. I joined this. I think it was like last year after Dragon's Dogma 2 came out, and I was like, this is a piece of shit game. It just wasn't good. and I was just like, I need to just start waiting for games and waiting for them to be patched. So I joined this, and it's just like people talking about how they're having these great experiences with old games. Like when I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla on launch, it was junk. The stealth didn't even work. But someone who just played it was like, this is a great game. There's so much to do, the content. And I was just like, yeah, it's just better to wait for games.
I think this is a good point, and I do think the fact that that community already exists in the
Patient
numbers.
Gamers.
Yeah, that I'm going to check out that subreddit, but I can see that whole movement just growing because the back catalog is just growing and growing and growing. We've got so many games. I look up each month how many games coming out. Too many. Can't even keep up. So it's
Dude,
definitely.
I own 50 games new on Steam that I haven't even played yet. Like I would be set for the next 5 years if I didn't buy a new game.
Same, man. I've got sealed boxes upstairs for my PS5 games that I haven't touched. One of them is actually the first Berserker Khazan. I do need to get onto that. But yeah, so many games. I've heard so many good things. I'm definitely going to get into it. Matt, did you have anything else you wanted to say about the Xbox Game Pass situation or prices of the gaming industry right now?
Like you said, it's just an interesting conundrum I think Xbox finds themselves in. Like, obviously, Game Pass is an insane value, but what can you take out to make it cheaper if that's the only way to make it cheaper, without alienating a huge portion of your user base? Because they do seem to be in a place right now where uh, it's a great service and a lot of people love it. But removing content will obviously frustrate a lot of players. Um, but if you're only able to add content by raising the price, that's also likely to frustrate just as many players. Um, I'm very curious to see where they go. I think, unfortunately, Xbox is in this position of uh, really intriguing, like what if scenarios, that we're all just kind of waiting for the hat to drop and for them to actually commit and do something uh, next. It's been a lot of like retreading or progressing down similar paths and doing this stuff. And I for one am very interested to see what is next under this new leadership. Because like you said, a lot of people are really excited about this Game Pass change. And there are a lot of really excited about some other stuff coming down the pipeline. Um, I really want to see what they got, Very, very intrigued.
I'm with you, Matt. I'm rooting for Xbox, really. I'm just going to be critical going forward. That's all it is. But yeah, next up, we'll be talking about the Resident Evil movie. So for those of you that don't know, again, Zach Cregger's, the director of The Barbarian, is writing and directing a new Resident Evil film reboot scheduled for theatrical release on the 18th of September this year. This project is a fresh start for the franchise and is not connected to any previous films or television. Another interesting thing about this, just to make clear, is that this film is an original story set in Raccoon City Outbreak, focusing on new characters rather than the established game icons, which I think that's a good thing, to be honest. If they don't want to really piss hardcore fans off, I think they made the good choice because the casting alone, I wouldn't like to make those decisions. This is just such beloved characters in that series for so long. I wouldn't want to cast any of them. And I've never watched any of the live action Resident Evil since the Maya Djokovic films.
The Mila Jovovich ones.
Yeah, but I don't think they've used any named characters in live action, have they?
In the most recent one, Welcome to Raccoon City, It was Leon, Claire. It had all the characters. Chris Redfield was in it, and they tried retelling Resident Evil 1 and 2 in the same movie. I haven't watched it because my main issue with that movie is they make the characters be the characters from the games, but they're not the characters. They just are them in name. Like if you look at Leon in the Welcome to Raccoon City movie, he acts nothing like him. He's timid and scared, and he has dark brown hair and he's Spanish. And there's nothing wrong with changing someone's race or something, but he just didn't fit the character. It just didn't work.
Okay.
So the good thing that's happening with this is they're telling a totally new and unique story set in Raccoon City, which will be a great opening to show new characters because they're not going to have to worry about living up to the expectations of the one already established, and to tell a whole new interesting story about someone's night in Raccoon City as this is going on. And it's just a regular, average Joe who's going through it. So it's not going to have to meet the milestones of these games and the characters and the story beats. It can tell its own unique story. And from the trailer I watched, it looks horrifying. It looks so terrifying. It is so scary. The only weird thing is it's snowing, but the time that it was happening when the Raccoon City incident, it was like in October, September, and it doesn't really snow, but I that's just nitpicking that I saw online, which makes sense. But the movie honestly looks good, and I think Zach Krager, who originally is from Whitest Kids You Know, a greatest skit show from the early 2000s. Go watch it if you haven't. It's hilarious. Hilarious. Rest in peace, Trevor Moore, one of the other guys on that show. But he's good. Barbarian and all these other movies, I have faith. From what I saw and from what his track record is, this is going to be a good movie, and I think it's going to honestly make Resident Evil fans happy. Because as the biggest Resident Evil fan ever, I'm happy with what I saw.
Nice. I will give it a go just because it's Resident Evil, but as I was saying to you guys earlier, I don't do horror movies as a rule, really. I'm not going to get into my whole anecdote again, but yeah, I'm not into horror movies, real talk, but I definitely am into Resident Evil, so I will watch this. I haven't watched any of the other stuff, like I said, apart from the Mila Jovovich things years ago when I was a kid, because I heard that it was all trash. So I don't know if any of the movies have been good. Even the animated ones I heard weren't all that, although they weren't as bad as the live action stuff. So
they're good. They're actually decent. If you like the characters,
animated ones.
Yeah, if you like the characters, you get more of the characters doing Resident Evil stuff in the Resident Evil universe. And obviously, they're more experienced, so they're not just creeping through a mansion. It's kind of big world shit that they're taking care of at that point. But it's good because it expands on Resident Evil and it does the characters well. Like Leon's in a lot of the movies, the animated films, and they portray him just as well as they do in the games. So it's really the live actions where they've been failing.
That's why, yeah, fair. Are they canonical, the animated films? Are they like part of the story continuation?
So. I think they are. I think they are. I've never dived into that, but I don't see why they wouldn't be because they use all
fair enough.
And it's all the same.
Okay, I might have to watch them in that case, the animated ones at least. Matt, I know you're not too into horror either, but are you at all anticipating this film? Do you think you'll give it a go?
I don't think I'll give it a go, but I do have a question for Fume. I saw some reports online that Capcom does not allow the movies to or the live action movies at least to utilize characters from the series, the game series. Is that correct information?
So that's not correct because even in the second Resident Evil movie with Mila Jovovich back in the day, there was, Jill Valentine, Carlos. I think they had Nemesis in it. And the most recent one, Welcome to Raccoon City, like I just said, they had renditions of everyone like Leon and Claire and all that. Leon was actually played by that handsome kid from the show Victorious from back in the day.
That's hilarious.
But yeah. So they do use the characters, but they just don't portray them well. They don't portray them at all how they're supposed to be.
Well, I'm intrigued. I probably won't watch it, but I will say, Zach Krager.
Zach Krager.
Krager seems to have a lot of talent around these horror titles, and not in a way that's just like a horror movie, but in like a really unique and interesting spin, which obviously Resident Evil has a reputation for being a really fun and creative spin on horror titles in general. It does a lot of things with action. It does a lot of things with body horror, all these other things. So hopefully it's a match made in heaven, and all of you fans finally get a Resident Evil game or a Resident Evil movie that you've been waiting for. But I wouldn't hold your breath. That's all I'm saying. You never know with these things. It's just, yeah.
I'm just happy they're telling a unique story because, what it is, it's bioterrorism. That can happen anywhere. It just doesn't have to keep focusing on the same characters. Go to Russia and tell a story about some outbreak there. I mean, go anywhere else in the world, different outbreaks. You can do stuff like that. It's about the bioterrorism. It's not just about the characters.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that, Fume. I like the kind of world building element
Yeah.
of having these extra things in the media rather than just being a recreation and a poor imitation of something that is actually good. So yeah, hopefully Zach Craig does the movie justice. I will be checking out that sitcom you mentioned. You're gonna have to shoot me the name
Whitest
because
Kids
I
You
love
Know.
the sitcom. Whitest Kids You Know.
Yes.
Well,
It
okay,
is great.
all right.
It is great, especially seasons
It
1 and
already
2.
sounds funny. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to look into that. Nice. All right, next up, guys, we have Alien Isolation 2. So Sega recently teased and officially confirmed the development of Alien Isolation sequel. There's currently no official release date, but industry analysts suggest a launch before 2027 is unlikely as the game is in early development. So I reckon we'll be looking at 2028 probably release. If it's in early development now, I can't. Oh no, it was in early development as of late 2024. So yeah, we could be looking at something late 2027, 2028, I reckon. The teaser suggests a departure from the claustrophobic space station setting of the first game, showing a rainy outdoor environment that hints at planetside or off-world colony setting. Now, before I let you guys run with this, that really excited me, the change of location and having it look like a more open space to explore. That's quite exciting. I feel like that hints at multiple aliens and maybe the possibility to actually defend yourself somewhat, but obviously there's a lot still up in the air about it. But yeah, I'm really interested in this. I still need to play the first one. Had it on my list to play for literal years now, so I'm definitely going to prioritize it. But this sequel definitely looks like it's going to have a lot of people happy, and I think it will probably exceed the original in terms of quality and extra features. So I'm excited for this. The teaser had me, interested. Matt, what do you think?
This is the one where the series where the alien stalks you, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. Jeez, dude, this game's gonna be terrifying. If they dude, I have not played the original, uh, transparency, but the clips that I've seen, like I've shit myself just watching the clip. So like I can, and that's like the game is obviously aged. Like the lighting and a lot of the stuff, like it's not quite to modern standards. But can you imagine this new game like on an OLED monitor or an OLED TV with like modern soundscapes and modern sound design? Dude, this might be the scary. This might be PT reincarnated, but alien. Like we're talking like some crazy stuff they could do here. Um, I also think it's kind of cool that they're showcasing some maybe outdoor or planet side environments. Again, the first game was you were only on the ship, correct?
Yeah, as
I
far as I
think
know,
so.
yeah,
Yep.
it
Yeah,
took place fully on the ship. Yeah,
So I think this gives them a lot of room to mess with the both environmental storytelling and environmental hazards in a really interesting way, or just in general, really craft the level design in a cool way. I've always appreciated games that can bounce between different visual motifs and visual design for different levels. But yeah, dude, this game could be literally the scariest thing ever made.
Yep. Yep. I think it's going to be terrifying. So I never played the first one either, but one of my buddies, Cam, shout out to you, Cam, if you're listening. He played it back in the day and he loved it. But the way he explained it, it sounded like you couldn't fight back. And I don't like a horror game where you're just running the whole time. Like I played the first Outlast and I beat it. But when I picked up the second one, I just dropped it because I don't like how you're just running and hiding the whole time. You feel helpless. And that's not how I want to feel when I'm playing a video game. At least, this kind of video game with horror involved. But I looked it up. I just Googled it right now, and you can use weapons and stuff. You just can't kill the alien in the game, but when you still fight other human enemies and things like that. So it's not just, running and hiding combat like that. But I want to see what they do with the second game. I want to see if they make it, more action heavy or just keep focusing on the stealth. And then maybe I'll pick up the first game. And I think if I see a good enough sale on the first game, I'll pick it up just to try it. So maybe I can get hyped about this. But I'm not really a big Alien versus Predator guy. I never have. I thought they're cool. I've seen the movies every now and again. They're good, violent, action-packed watches. But, eh, eh, I'm not too excited for this. But it could be good.
fair play. I actually am quite into the Alien and Predator whole universe and all their films and stuff. So I've always had an interest in the kind of alien games. I remember there was the kind of horde-based shooter that came out, Aliens Fireteam or something.
Yes. Yep.
And
Yep.
I did play that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was on Game Pass at one point, and that's how I played it. I remember playing it with my friend. So yeah, I quite enjoyed that, but we didn't get too far into it. And again, Alien Isolation, I've always meant to get into because I've heard great things about it, but I haven't had the time yet. I'm hoping I can. But I'm with you on hopefully it having a bit more action to it, because that was another thing that kind of put me off Isolation. Although I did want to play it, the fact that you had no real defense against the alien that would always keep coming, and I understand that that's, part of the whole premise of the game, but that I always find that a bit too unnerving for me. I like to be able to defend myself in horror games,
Yeah.
otherwise it's just too much. But yeah, hopefully it does what it needs to do for a lot of people, and I think a lot of people are gonna be happy with it when it does drop.
Yep.
All right, next up, we are talking about Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, officially announced on April 19th and set for a 2027 release. It follows years of support for the second game and aims to be a massive leap forward for the series on current gen hardware. Fume, I'm going to let you take it away because I know
Yeah.
you're hyped for this.
So I'm actually not that hyped for it, actually, because
What?
yeah, I know.
You
It's great.
brought
I
it to
love
my attention.
I love Dragon Ball Z, but
Yeah.
when it comes to the combat of these third
Mm.
person Dragon Ball Z games, it's just like it's a third person, camera angle,
Mm.
and you go up and you just do an auto combo, and then after the auto combo finishes, they fly away, and then you do like a Kame Kame. It's very simple combat, and it doesn't really change. So really, the only thing that the Xenoverse or Xenoverse, has in my eyes is the character creation, which is cool. You can make a Frieza race or a Saiyan or a human or a Majin. That's cool, but the gameplay just never did it for me. It was just too simple, and I'm gonna have to see reviews. I mean, it's Dragon Ball. I'm gonna pick it up. What am I saying? I love the series so much. I always pick up their games. They just need to improve on the combat and make it more in depth. Make there be more, just anything to it rather than just an auto combo and in a special attack. So they got some work to do. I'm definitely there. I'm definitely interested. But when you have a game like Dragon Ball Fighters, which is the game made by Arxis, which is the 2D fighter, where how intricate and how cool the combos and how diverse all the characters were, that's the main issue with these Dragon Ball games is all the characters play the same. They just have different animations for their special attacks. So hopefully they can do something to make it better. But if you look at Sparking Zero, they had 200 characters that all felt like they played the same. Yeah.
Best of luck.
Yeah,
Matt,
best of luck.
you are too interested in Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3?
So this is it a PvP fighting game?
It's like an RPG almost. There's PvP, so it's an RPG where you make your own character and you probably go through all the different sagas of the show and all the different arcs and stuff like that. Play through it, just fight all the villains and stuff. Very very simple, just beat 'em up, third person anime fighting game
So
with PvP.
how does the whole I guess just to clarify, I have not really watched Dragon Ball, and I'm not I cannot call myself a Dragon Ball fan. I have touched Sparking Zero for like an hour. But how does the whole progression, or why would I play this, I guess?
So I don't really remember the progression from the other games, but I know that as you go through the story, you can unlock, different skills for your character. Like you'll do more damage or a new special attack that you can get from beating. Like if you beat Goku, you unlock the Kamehameha. You beat Vegeta, you unlock the Gallic Gun, which is his attack. And you customize it like that. You can get new clothing options, but I don't really think it's that deep. I think there's a couple of stat boosting things. And like I said, I'm just speaking on memory because it's been over a decade since I played Xenoverse 2. But that's another issue that I had with the game is there really wasn't that much progression that I cared about. You know,
Okay, so it's more about the whole being able to play in the Dragon Ball universe.
It's more about making your own character in the Dragon Ball universe. Yeah, that's
Okay.
the main point of it, which is cool. That is something that's awesome. But the gameplay and the progression systems from the previous games just didn't work for someone like me.
I gotcha. Okay. I could be cool. I'm interested to see what it looks like. As someone who's never gotten into Dragon Ball, if it looks good, I'd be down to check it out. I love a interesting melee combat system, and who does? Maybe I go.
Yeah, I think if you want to get into Dragon Ball, I think the best game to pick up would either be Dragon Ball Fighters, or if you want something different, go back to like the Game Boy Advance days and play the Legacy of Goku series, because that was like it retells the story of Dragon Ball, but it's like an RPG. So you unlock stuff, you level up. So it feels like there's good progression. But those are super old. They'll never get remastered. The developers are, I think, way out of business. Webfoot.
Oh
So.
that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. So hopefully it turns out good. Hopefully they make the combat better. That's my main wish.
Well, I was just looking at this just quickly before we move on, and apparently they're reporting that it has advanced combat and the combat system has been deepened with a new stash and counter mechanic, allowing players to store energy for successful parries to unleash unique ultimate counters, I think. So that sounds
okay.
interesting. So they're adding something to it. It doesn't sound like it's been totally overhauled. And I'm with you, Fume. I owned both of the Xenoverse games, but I only ever played the first one. I had the like dual pack that I got quite late into their kind of life cycle. And I played the first one for a few hours and did just find the combat boring and repetitive. And outside of leveling up this customized character and playing in the Dragon Ball universe, it wasn't that exciting. And as somebody that grew up playing a lot of Dragon Ball games, so like the Budokai and Tenkaichi games, I've played through those same stories so many times in all the Dragon Ball games at this point. And then they did it again in Kakarot, which I did really enjoy. So playing Xenoverse, especially because I got it late, like I said, I think I got it even after Kakarot had come out. So it's quite late when I was just kind of trying to collect up all the games. I was really bored very quickly because there wasn't really anything keeping me. I know that anime inside out. I've watched it since I was a kid multiple times, multiple versions of the same thing. So playing it again with my own character, it should have been a match made in heaven, but it was quite boring, man. I was quite disappointed, especially because I had a friend who used to talk about it all the time in secondary school and college. He was like addicted to it. So I went into it thinking, oh, I'm going to have he had like hundreds of hours in those games. He was properly into them and get all the DLC and everything. But I was just like you. I kind of bounced off of it straight away. So hopefully Xenoverse 3 does a lot more.
Yes.
But we'll see.
I lied. I own Kakarot. That's the only one that I have. And I've only played.
Did you enjoy that?
I've only played like an hour.
Oh, fair.
I just have to add for the record.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's a good game. Kakarot's a good game, but it has a big empty open world. And the main thing is just collect these orbs and fly around.
Yeah, why did they do it like that? It was like Superman N64 or something with all the flying around collecting the orbs. I enjoyed it for the battles and the story and reliving that again in like really, because they did the cutscenes really well. Matt, I would say if you own it, use that to kind of catch up on the Dragon Ball lore. It might be a good streamlined way to get through it. If not, just watch the anime. A lot of people
watch Dragon Ball Z Kai, because that
Kai. Yeah. Although I'd argue some of the filler in Dragon Ball Z, the base, is funny, like Piccolo and Kakarot's driving. Yeah, that cracked me up as a kid. It comes out of nowhere with these fillers. It was like so random because I think it was in the middle of like the Cell arc or something, and then that just happens, and it's like, why are we doing this? Why are we now driving a car?
Yeah, Kai's better because it makes it so there's less standing around and talking in battles and more fighting, and not just screaming and power up. So it's good. That's the best way to watch it. Or watch Dragon Ball Z Abridged, because it just makes the show very funny. But you kind of need to know the references of the show to get it.
Fair. I don't even know what we're moving on to next, guys.
Let's see.
We could talk about some other random stuff, or we could get into what we've all been messing around and playing.
What would you guys rather? Do you want to just move on to what we've been playing?
Do you want to talk about Final Fantasy Remake Part 3, or do you want to just go into what we're playing? I don't really think there's much to talk about Part 3 yet, because we don't really know anything.
Yeah,
it's really
other than it's coming.
Progressing. Yeah, I think that might be a nothing thing.
I guess just
for
the viewers, you guys can drop in the comments. But do you guys think we're going to see it at Summer Games Fest?
I do.
I think
I do. I think we're gonna.
I do.
I think that's where it would be shown.
I think we see it before the Game Awards.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm really annoyed with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Actually, I really enjoyed the first game. I haven't played Rebirth yet because I feel like it's taking all of the spotlight off of Kingdom Hearts 4. I don't need this many Final Fantasy VII's in between Kingdom Hearts 3 and 4. That's not fair. You should have done the remake part 1, then give me Kingdom Hearts 4. Then I haven't bought Rebirth yet because I feel like it's a slap to the face of one of my favorite Square Enix franchises. Where is Kingdom Hearts 4 and why is it taking so long? It's been like a decade, man, and I
It
can't deal
has.
with it. Like, that's my kind of the reason why I'm not really behind it. Every time I hear about Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, I'm just like, no, I don't want to even speak of it until I get Kingdom Hearts 4. I need Kingdom Hearts 4. I'm desperate for it.
I worked at GameStop when we were releasing Kingdom Hearts 3, and oh
Mm.
man, it was really packed that night, and everyone was very
Mm.
excited. And then my buddy,
Mhm.
who's been a Kingdom Hearts fan forever, he got 3, and he said it didn't live up to Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, which is kind of sad. Do you agree with
You know
that?
what? He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I really, really enjoyed Kingdom Hearts 3. I did, and I think because it'd been so long since I'd played one of the games, so I went into it like just really hyped and loving like the graphical upgrades and the kind of what they did with the combat, and it was really good. But it did feel it didn't have enough Final Fantasy characters in it. First of all, that was kind of disappointing, and I felt like they missed opportunities to bring like newer faces into it. But also, yeah, it didn't. It felt it might have even been shorter. I remember getting through it kind of quick. So yeah, I did feel like I enjoyed it, but it wasn't. I didn't enjoy it the same way I enjoyed Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. But then I always chalk that up to, is it because I was much older by that point? I was a grown man playing Kingdom Hearts
Yeah.
3. Kingdom Hearts 2 came out when I got it for my 9th birthday, I believe. So yeah, I'd been playing Kingdom Hearts since I was like 7 years old. So maybe that's why, but I definitely feel what some people are saying. If they were disappointed, I gather it because I was a little bit. And also, I don't know, they keep changing the art style, which makes sense
They
because it
do.
takes so long to bring out new ones. But the Kingdom Hearts 3 art style, I didn't like it at the time, but I grew to love it. And now they've changed it again for Kingdom Hearts 4 into a more realistic look, and I'm not feeling that too much. I'm just really,
Looks like
yeah, but it always kind of did, but yeah, it had its own cartoony aesthetic, which I really liked, and now they seem to be leaning more into that Final Fantasy stuff,
Big
which
ass shoes.
yeah,
I'm
I always
excited.
find it funny.
I'm excited for the Final Fantasy remake part 3 because I'm
Me
playing
too.
through OG Final Fantasy 7, like just very casually on the side, and so I'm excited to get to go through all 3 once I finish the original. And
Nice.
see
Have
what
you
that's
not played
like.
Remake yet, Maddie?
Nope, going through the original first, and then we'll go back and play through remake, rebirth, and return most likely.
I like Remake more than Rebirth. I'm gonna let you guys experience it, form your own opinions, and we can talk about it. But it just does it better. And I don't know, maybe it's the fact that it was new when I first played it, but there was just too much bloat in Rebirth. And you guys probably heard that.
Yeah,
You're not the only person I've heard that from. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people prefer the first remake to Rebirth. I'm interested to see what I make of it. I hear everyone's crying about the mini games. Like there's way too many mini games,
So the
so I'm
mini games.
interested to see that. Yeah.
It was the mini games in the open world. The open world content was just so generic, like 2010s. Go here and do this shit, and then you go to another region. It's the same shit, but in another region. And then the mini games, there was a lot of good items locked behind it, and there was just way too many. And if you play it, I mean, if it makes sense why there's mini games. If you played the original Final Fantasy VII, what is it called? Saucer City. I forget the name of it. It's the big city where all the mini games are, and that's the point of the city there. The golden
Okay.
saucer. The golden saucer. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's a place where there's a bunch of games, so it makes sense why the mini games were there. But it just felt
Okay.
overwhelming, especially if you were going for that 100%, because you had to
Damn.
master every mini game. So it was just frustrating. It's not a good game to 100%. I hear.
It sounds like a nightmare.
I will say the original Final Fantasy VII, at least for me, has more than exceeded my expectations. I'm very much enjoying it. I just got to Sugar
good.
Tower, so I'm only
Okay.
about 4 or 5 hours in, nothing crazy.
Yeah,
But
that's the end of the first remake game.
yeah,
where you're at.
super fun. Like I would say to people who haven't played Final Fantasy before, like give it a shot. Like it's real time combat, it's characters, the world is really pretty, all that kind of stuff. I'm very much enjoying, and you can see why it was so revolutionary because I can't believe it's that old, to be honest.
Are you playing the updated one because they just gave an update to the game like 3 months ago? I know they did it on Steam, where they added like a fast forward feature and a bunch of like just little quality of life things to it. Are you playing that version? I don't know if that version released on PlayStation. Maybe it did.
Maybe
It had to have.
it might have. I thought I was playing the original version, but maybe the reason I'm saying it holds up so good is they just updated it, and I didn't even know.
Yeah, and it adds 3 times speed. It adds
Definitely
you
not
can
doing
turn
that.
off encounters,
Definitely
and
not
there's
doing
booster cheats,
Also not doing
and
that. So
there's autosave, so that's good because I
also
actually
not
lost
doing
a
that.
lot of progress one time because
I have
I didn't
no
have autosave.
autosaves on, and I'm still enjoying it.
Ah.
So yeah, definitely excited to see it. My prediction is we will see it at Summer Games Fest, either an announcement or a full blown trailer. So we'll see.
Probably right, and we probably won't hear anything about Kingdom Hearts until next year now, next summer probably, which
2032,
whatever.
Jay. That's when you're getting an
Yeah,
update.
I'll be raising my grandkids by the time we play that game, man. I'll be like, I'll be dusting off the old PlayStation collection, like, play this first, kids. Anywho, so do you
Let's
guys
hear
want to
about
get
Zeros.
into? Huh? Yeah, do you guys want to get into what we've been playing?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, go and start us off with your beautiful background. How are you feeling about Seros? I know you're going to have a lot to say.
For context, I love Returnal. I think Returnal, prior to this game, was top 5 new IP released this generation. Fantastic game. If you haven't played it, I really recommend it. I know it's brutal. As a true rogue like, you lose 99% of your progress on every single run. I thought it was gorgeous. It played well. The story was incredibly captivating. The only reason it wasn't a perfect game for me is Act 3 was mid as hell. Because you basically just have to replay the entire game and grab some collectibles to unlock like the final cutscenes. But the DLC made up for that as like a capstone to the story. So to me, I was thrilled. And I only played it a couple months ago. I actually beat it at the start of this year.
Okay.
Saros is a certified banger. I put my stamp of approval on this game. I will stake my reputation. This is a game that everyone needs to play. It is, my prediction, it will be the Doom for the modern audience. Like the people who didn't play Doom back in the day and only got into Doom as a modern game. It is that game, but like third person, with the highest level of polish I have seen in a game in a long time. There is so much going on screen. There is so like crazy background environments, so many particle effects, so many things to see. Rock solid 60 FPS. I haven't had a single frame drop the entire time on PS5 Pro. It's insane. Couple things to note. This game is a rogue light, not a rogue like. So for those of you that don't know the difference, a rogue like is a game where you lose your progress on death, and a rogue like has some meta progression. So you do still have to do runs over and over again, but each run you have the opportunity to purchase upgrades, carry some things over, and kind of get stronger each time. I'm nearing the end of Act 1. I'm about 10-ish hours in right now, and I cannot stop thinking about it. I play it. I like went to work with like 2 hours of sleep a couple days ago because I couldn't stop. Like I was like enthralled. The bosses, 10 out of like they just leveled it up. And I posted about this the other day, but the sound design is, and I actually sent this to some people. I said, the sound design is literally orgasmic. It is that good. Like if this game does, as of right now, obviously the rest of the year to play out, this game needs to win best sound design of the year. It is so good. It's so like, you guys have seen Dune, right?
No, I have not.
Yeah, the film, the new movie.
Yeah, I did, but I wasn't really paying attention
Have
too
you
tough.
seen-
I'd have seen it though.
You guys have seen the trailers though, right? Or like
Yes.
clips or
Yeah, I
something?
know what it looks like. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know those like deep, like weird guttural noises that are present throughout all the trailers and stuff, with like big
Mhm.
drums and all that kind of stuff. Just like
Yeah.
yeah. It
Great.
has... I tried. I was like, do I want to do this? It has a lot of that, and then it does this like, you know, like the Halo Infinite's assault rifle how it sounds like
Mm.
like a bullet hose, but it's like a pitter patter like rain. It's like that with the AR, and then like things will explode, and it's like you hear that like in movies when they do like an implosion followed by an explosion, so it's like a shoom, boom, like dude, you're just fighting all these enemies at once, and you're just hearing this, and you're like, oh, spark in the brain, spark in the brain, spark in the brain, and I'm like, oh my
Nice.
gosh, this is crazy, and then you start getting these abilities that chain together, and then you get the shield, and you're like, what is happening? And then you get the eclipse, and the eclipse is like nightmare levels from Doom, where like or like gore nests kind of.
Yeah.
Where like everything just get cranks up to 11. You start taking damage by blocking things, but then you can like reverse the damage to do extra damage, and then you're fighting like 3 mini bosses at a time, and then there's more environmental hazards, and I'm just like, I feel like I'm at an EDM concert, but like in game form, where it's just like my synapses are being fried everywhere I look, but I can't look away because it's so incredible. And like I just I haven't played a game with this much polish and this much confidence in what it's trying to be in a really long time. Because you could kind of see that Returnal wasn't all the way there. Like it needed a little bit more. Like the bosses were a little weak, and I think they were afraid to kill the player because they were like, if we kill the player too much, they're gonna stop. And so the bosses were very spectacle. They were very like pinnacle. They were very if you can make it to the boss, you can beat the boss. Saros is not afraid to kill you and make it hard. That being said, I do have 2 nitpicks. Number one, I don't love the modifier system purely because there's no reward or risk for using it. It is only there to make it easier or harder. So it's like on a meter or like a speedometer that starts in the middle. And if you use things to make it easier, you have to counter them by making them harder. On the surface, you're like, oh, okay, give and take there, cool. But you don't get anything for engaging with it. Like it's not like you get more powerful weapons if you make the game harder. Like in Diablo, for instance, when you crank up the difficulty, you get better drops. And if you make it easier, it's not like you get less cool weapons or less enemy types or other things like that. So that was just a disappointment for me because I have no say in this difficulty discourse. I think the game is plenty hard as it is, plenty challenging, unless you change those sliders. But purely from a mechanical standpoint, I wish that they had just kind of incentivized people to use it. Secondarily, the story unfortunately was spoiled for me. I will get into that in a bit, but I won't get into the story spoilers. But like, I have another rant to go on about that if we have time at the end. But purely from what I've experienced so far, I think Returnal did it better because Returnal is essentially like psychological horror in its story, and that's why it kind of fits the world that you're in. This Cthulhu, eldritch horror kind of inspired thing because it's very similar to the brain and getting lost in your head, like you're being tortured by your memories and all of these things, and it fits that. Saros, because there's other characters there, and it feels very much more like a grounded story. There aren't these like weird what's going on elements. It's just kind of like, oh, we're in this crazy alien world, and I need to go and save these people. Like pretty standard hero stuff. I think it loses a lot of that like sauce of like what is going on. Like when you get to the end of Returnal and it all pieces together, you're like, oh my gosh, what just like that is insane. There's no way that's real. And Saros just kind of misses a little bit of that. Overall, I have no doubts right now. If the year ended right now, it's my game of the year. I'll put my stamp on it. It's even before getting to Act 2. I have no doubts that this will slow down because it has shown me time and time again that it's only going to crank up. And if you own a PlayStation 5, like this is a must-play game. It's even if you bounced off of Returnal, it's that good. Because of that meta progression, because each run is new, fresh, and exciting, and the gameplay is so good, it just keeps you coming back again and again and again. It's just awesome.
You're making me regret not getting it day one, man. I'm just there listening to you. Like my whole thing was I never beat Returnal, so I was like, nah, I'm not gonna let myself buy it. I can't buy like 2 games this month, so I went for Invincible Versus instead. But now I'm sitting there thinking, oh man, maybe I should have just played this and then gone and done Returnal later, because now I'm feeling like I might just have to pick this up for June or something after James Bond, because I don't think I can wait. I don't think I can wait to beat Returnal.
It does a really good job of like pacing out the upgrades that you actually purchase, not like the gear upgrades that you would get in Returnal, because you do get those too.
Okay.
But more of like you have to beat bosses to progress down the skill tree. So you can't just like kill yourself over and over and over again just to like super max yourself to get too strong. Like you kind of have to earn the progression. And like I said, you know, if it does to get too hard, there are those difficulty sliders. I just wish they were implemented better, because I think they could have been really interesting. And that's kind of the only thing that's holding it back from me. That and the story things that I mentioned, from truly being like a perfect game. Like it's really damn close.
Do you think I should just play it and then play Returnal after, or do you think I should just beat Returnal first?
I mean, I'm biased. I love Returnal, but if you're struggling with Returnal, I would say that this game offers ways to push through that while still maintaining the spirit of what that was.
Is there a story connection between the 2 games? Are they connected, or are they just play similar in different universes? Like,
yeah, it's just very Returnal coded. Funnily enough, the main character of Returnal is actually in the game. She is a character, not Celine, but the actress.
Oh, okay, okay.
She actually plays.
Okay.
Yeah, she actually plays someone, and I thought it would be cool if they connected. They do not, which is totally fine.
Okay.
I actually think Celine's story being self-contained makes a lot of sense, and if they kind of tied it up in this game, I would have been a little upset, because I have a lot of love for that game and what it tried to do. But yeah, dude, oh my gosh!
Like, so it sounds like a must-play game.
Yeah, dude. Like I am this. When we talk about games selling consoles, this game sells consoles. Like this is the one that you want to play. It is that, like, oh my gosh, it's so good. I can't stop. I can't stop playing it. Like I have no desire to play anything else.
I knew the FOMO was gonna. I should have. Anyway, I'm getting it.
I think you should.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I will play Returnal and beat it one day, but I think I'm just gonna get Saras whilst struck while the iron's hot. Next payday. Yeah.
The last thing I want to mention is I think it's super dope that we got an Indian action hero. I think totally underrepresented group of people in video games. They're usually very typecast, and I've talked to a lot of people about this. I think it's dope that it's like a strong, confident, good-looking Indian guy that they're like, this is the cover of our game, and he does a fantastic job. I think he's great. In the same way that Celine also does a fantastic job being the main character of Returnal. I think it's Arjun is his name. Really awesome. So yeah.
He was in a Netflix movie that I really liked. I forget the name of it, but it was like about this town, and he was like a sheriff in it, and some weird stuff was happening. I forget it, but it was a really good movie. He was a great actor too.
Yeah, it's really good.
I was gonna say Rahul Kohli. I like him a lot. He was I knew him from iZombie. I don't know if you guys ever watched that.
Yeah.
That was such a dope show that no one ever talks about. I was actually hooked onto that for ages, and I liked his character in that. It was a funny, like British scientist guy. I think he is originally. I think he's British as well, so that just makes me like him that a little bit more. Yeah, there you go. Nice.
Yeah, he was born in London.
He's
in 1985.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. He's a great actor. I really enjoy him in especially iZombie. Used to crack me up. What?
Wait,
sorry, go.
I know something that bothered some people about Returnal was the use of the DualSense with the half trigger pull. So for those of you that don't know, you alt fire your weapons by like depressing the trigger different distances. I don't know what they did for Returnal versus Saros. I don't know if they tightened up the amount that you need to press it, but it feels way better in this game. Like it's way easier to press it halfway. Whereas in Returnal, it was really easy to like overpress and accidentally use your like stronger ability. Whereas this one, like I said, the game is just incredibly polished. And I think that's the thing that I'm most impressed by, is just how good of a Sony first party game this is. Like it is nearly flawless.
Must play. Okay.
That Sony stamp of approval is something that is really looking good on this game. And I hope they can keep that momentum going with all the games that like Wolverine's definitely going to carry the momentum of Saros. That game's going to be amazing. And
Can't
whatever
wait
else they
for
have in the
Wolverine, man.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
why did they not give us like a cool steelbook or a cool controller for this game?
They didn't.
It's dripping with sauce, like dripping. Like, look
Oh,
at my
there's no
background.
steelbook.
This is just
Yeah.
a badass photo. Like it is just
I'm gutted.
dripping with coolness.
It's got a really unique kind of art style. That kind of ethereal, otherworldly vibe from Returnal seems to be back in full flex here. It looks really interesting.
Yeah.
I like how the aesthetic of this game's all red, and like the aesthetic of Returnal was kind of like all bluish in a way. I like how it's color coded like that,
Well,
so you can
in
like tell the
something-
difference.
No story spoilers here, but the blue of Returnal connects to the story very strongly, and I'm very curious if the red/yellow stuff will tie into this game as strongly.
It has to be like some
Interesting.
multiverse shit. Like they're definitely.
Mm.
I feel it.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Mm.
We'll see.
Damn. What have you been working on, Fume? What are you playing?
Yeah, so I couple games, few games. So I finished up Pragmata. Fantastic game. I ended up beating it on lunatic difficulty, which it was on. It was tough, but like for the first 5 chapters, from the first beginning of the game, it's you can play it just like you played your first playthrough on normal, just simple combat. But then when you get to the last level, enemies just start hitting like trucks. You start realizing like the enemy types when they have all the goo on them, they just are so much smarter and harder. And then the last boss, oh my god, I struggled on the last. It took me probably like 10, 12 times to beat him because he just hits you get like 2 hits and then you're dead. And I didn't want to go and spend another 10 hours going to look for all the upgrades. So I was being stubborn.
Yeah,
I eventually got it after the 12th try, but yeah. So I got the platinum on that, and then I moved on
Nice.
to Last of Us Part 2. Which,
Yeah.
So I wasn't really that big of a fan of the first game. I played it because I wanted to support Sony on PC, so I picked it up. I mean, I like the story, but I didn't feel connected enough with any of the characters because Joel was just kind of like an asshole, and Ellie's just some little girl, so I don't really relate to him. The world was cool, I guess, but there wasn't enough, enemy types, and there just wasn't enough for me to care about personally. So I picked up the second game, and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to support Sony again. I'll play it when I get to it. I thought this was a good time while I waited for another game in between Pragmata. I finished up Ellie's section, and I just was done. I felt like I didn't need to see any more of it because I know people are going to rip me apart for this. I just felt like the combat was too simple. It was just either stealth or shoot, and there's really nothing more to it. And there's only like 3 enemy types, and Seattle just looked the same everywhere to me. It was either you were in a dark mushroom corridor or you were out in an overgrown city. So nothing against the game personally. It's still a good game. It just wasn't for me. And then after that, I picked up Incredible Invincible Versus, and that is good. Jay, you're playing that. It's good. I actually just started watching the show probably 2 weeks ago. I just finished season. Yep, see, I just finished season 3, the last episode right before I got on this podcast, and that was probably one of the best fight scenes I've seen. It was straight up 35 minutes of a battle. And I was just like, dude, this is some of the best animation, some of the best fight between some of the best characters. Like, if you like superhero stuff, go watch Invincible. It's like The Boys, but better because you don't have all that. It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's super violent, bloody. Are you saying something, Jay?
Matt, you have watched it?
No, I'm not a big TV guy. Or really.
Okay, fair.
I've become
Fair.
more of a movie guy later in life.
Fair enough.
I used to watch a lot of TV as a kid, like a ton of TV.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
got back in like really into story video games, and that kind of took my TV time. And so now my multimedia of choice is the movies because it's like a set, 2-3 hours for something. And I
Okay.
really like going to the movie theater as opposed to watching movies at home.
That's how my
Same,
buddy
actually.
is. He just recently, like not recently, but like the past 5 years, he got really into movies and following how they're made and
Yeah.
the directors and all that stuff about it. So yeah, that's cool. Jumping back to Invincible, I think it's a good fighting game. I think it has everything you need in a meaty fighting game. It has the characters, the stages. There could be some more modes. It feels like they're missing like a survival mode and a time attack. I wish there was a little bit more character customization. There's a lot of unlockables, but it's mostly for like player cards and stuff like that. Each character has 4 colors to their costume. You got to unlock them by using them. You can level up characters. They start at level 1. You use them enough, they go up to level 20. you don't really unlock stuff to upgrade them other than like maybe title cards or color variants. I thought the story was good. It was quick. I beat it in about 2 hours, but it was entertaining. It was like an Invincible episode. You're watching it, and the ending. There's clearly going to be a part 2 to that, as you could tell if you beat it, because the way it picks up, it's just like wow. There's a whole overarching story now. But as a fighting game, it's really good. If you like fighting games, you're into fighting games like Dragon Ball Fighters, Guilty Gear Strive, the new Marvel Tokon that's coming out. It plays just like that. So if you like Invincible and you like the TV show, pick up the game. If you don't, now is the great time to get into it. So that's what I've been playing. I'm going to be playing that until probably Lego Batman comes out, and then I'll go from Lego Batman to 007.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people said it was underwhelming. Do you have any, like, where did that come from? I've seen like, a very mixed response to the game online.
I think people say it's underwhelming because of the lack of single player features. I think as a fighting game, mechanically, it's very sound. It has everything you want from a fighting game, and it has a good amount of characters and a good amount of stages. But I think it's just lacking that single player content. People don't feel like they're getting enough. But it's only a $50 game. It's not a full price game. So you're not paying 70 bones for it. You're paying 50. So I guess you can weigh how much you care about that if you think you're getting the content. But yeah, it's definitely lacking on single player content, but they can improve that over time by adding extra modes.
Gotcha. All right, Jay.
What about you, Jay? What are you playing?
Okay, so I'm still playing Pragmata. I've not got much more to say than Wait, have we spoken about it on the pod?
We've
spoken about it with you guys.
Just not spoilers.
Okay, well, I'm not saying any spoilers because I haven't progressed much compared to the last time we would have spoken about it. I've had like just such a hectic week. I've only managed to think I'm like 5-6 hours in or something. I enjoy it every time I pick up the controller. I'm into it, but I just haven't been playing that many games recently. I recently beat Replaced, but that was still like 2 weeks ago. So that's really, really great game. Awesome atmosphere. If you follow me, you would have seen my post all about it recently or over the past couple of weeks. Absolutely love that game. 100% recommend it, especially as it's at like a budget price point. Probably one of the best looking pixelated games I've seen to date, and I would love anybody to like challenge me on that and send me a better looking pixelated game because I'd love to see it. I think something comparable would be like Octopath Traveler. I've seen a lot of footage of it, but I haven't played it. But the lighting effects in Replaced are ridiculous. I don't know how you do that with pixels, and I've just been constantly impressed. And that sense of atmosphere, the way they build the foreground into your kind of scrolling and everything is so, so good. You just really feel like they brought that world alive. And the story, for something with no voice acting, it's like surprisingly captivating. And I was quite into it. Very cyberpunk, very dystopian. Really, if you're a cyberpunk fan, again, well worth playing. The gameplay, I'm going to write a whole review on this, so I won't talk about it too much. The gameplay in Replaced is good, but it's a bit hit or miss. Sometimes the controls are a bit clunkier than I think the devs realized when they set up certain platforming things. Like I just had to repeat things due to trial and error and just like missing the timing on things because the input felt weirdly delayed. But I think that was by design to give the game a kind of slow and like weighty feeling, but I feel like it brought me out of the immersion when I was dying for things I didn't really feel like were my fault. So I feel like that, they were really story focused. So I think limiting that kind of difficulty would have been better. Combat feels immaculate, but again, there's an element of clunkiness to it, just a little bit. You can kind of feel the indiness of it because it's got this high quality, but then certain things just feel a little bit off, but nothing that could really detract from the game in any significant way. It's just, I'm just being brutally honest. The other thing I'm obviously playing right now and most addicted to is Invincible Versus, and I'll second everything Fume said. It's excellent. I understand why people are complaining about it, and to kind of go more in depth on the answer to your question, Matt, it feels early access to me. I said this to you earlier, Fume. It feels like a solid early access release, but it doesn't feel like a finished product. So even for the budget price point, I worry about its longevity because they need the support now in order to get the content out that we all want to see. And I feel like people like me and Fuma are really into it, into fighting games and into Invincible. That's the target audience. It's probably a much niche audience than it needs to be, because there's going to be a lot of Invincible fans. There's also a lot of fighting game fans, but the intersection, I'm not sure how many Invincible fans care for an Invincible fighting game, and I don't know how many fighting game fans would play something just because it's got Invincible on it. Because there are, annoyingly, like, not, I'm really rooting for the game, but there are better fighting games to play in terms of progression, mechanics, and everything. This one is a bit pared down. It's not as complex as other fighters, but there is definitely like that skill ceiling you can get to.
Yeah.
Like, the game does a lot. Like, I'm not saying it's nothing, but it's not quite Street Fighter. The way I kind of put it in my head is it's kind of like a mix between the speed and animations of and snappy animations of something like Street Fighter or Dragon Ball Fighter Z, but
Yeah.
it has the stiff kind of movement of something like Mortal Kombat. So if you think about those two very different fighting systems being blended together, that's what Invincible Versus is. It feels like Mortal Kombat, but it actually plays like Dragon Ball Fighters or Street Fighter, just faster and snappier. It is really good. It feels really good when you get a hang of it. The switching mechanic was something I wasn't too sure about. I'd never really been into tag team fighters, but they work it in really well. So me and my girlfriend have been addicted to that. We play it together and we're just battering each other all the time, but we're big into the show as well. So I do just worry about its longevity. I really hope people buy it. I really hope they support it and we see all that DLC roll out. But I worry that the reality of the situation is it's not going to hit that audience peak when it needs to. And we might get one wave of DLC and then, it might not reach its full potential, which is a real shame. But I guess we'll see how that plays out. So that's what I'm playing. Aside from Saros, Matt, are you playing for anything else?
I played
The Saros.
Yeah. No, seriously, since it came out, I mean, I guess I can kind of get into some gripes around the game though, like online wise. I hate that Sony did the deluxe edition 2 days early thing. I think that's super bullshit. I wish companies would stop doing that because I was seeing so much stuff from the game, which I obviously want to talk about it with people, but I don't want to see stuff. Like, it's just annoying. It's like I only have so much money to spend on the game. I'm super excited about it. I pre-ordered it and I still can't get it until, launch day. So that was a bummer. But beyond that, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on like spoiler content in games. Like, either how long to wait until you post like boss fights, up like specific upgrades or story beats or stuff like that. And slash.
So I think right away, sorry to interrupt you, just
No,
right
go
away,
ahead.
like a month is where you can, like, I feel like that's where it is,
Okay.
Then the game comes out, everyone plays it. After a month, the game's been out, you can start talking about it. Yeah, you should kind of be cautious about spoilers, like the big things. But at that point, it's fair game. It's been out. You can talk about it after a month. But I also look at spoilers all the time because I like the gaming leaks and rumors subreddit. So I'm always seeing spoilers for games that I'm about to play way before they come out. So spoilers don't really affect me. Sometimes they bum me out, but I think a month is the good sweet spot. But most people will probably disagree with me on.
I don't have a solid opinion on when I think people should post or shouldn't post spoilers. I can only speak from myself. I try not to post spoilers for the sake of anybody that follows my content. I don't really want to put people off or ruin a genuinely good experience. I actually posted the end of Red Dead Redemption 1 a couple months ago and had shout out to Wesley. He told me to take that down if I could because he didn't want me to ruin it for people. And I listened because I don't really want to ruin things for people. So if I post anything, I would probably post spoilers for something that's old as sin, like Red Dead 1. If you don't know the ending of Red Dead 1 now, that's crazy to me. But
Right?
you know what I mean? But some people don't. And the reality of the situation is I didn't play Final Fantasy X until last year. So do you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have appreciated coming across it. So definitely that kind of is a lesson for me. I try not to post any spoilery content. I actually didn't post any Pragmata cutscene content. There was a really cute scene that I really wanted to post, but I didn't post it, even though it was in the promotional footage. I still didn't post it because I thought some people might experience this for the same first time, kind of like how I did, and feel what I felt. So I posted a different scene, only to see someone else posted that scene and got loads of views for it, and it kind of bummed me out. And I was just like, well, you know, I wish, but it doesn't matter. I think my principles are I don't really want to ruin things for people. I don't think it's fair, and not shitting on what you said at all, Fume, but I don't think it's fair when people say, oh, after this amount of time, you know, we should be able to post spoilers. I think after a month, like, to post more general stuff about the game is fine. You're not really giving away too much. But I think for the early times, stick with your impressions and details on the games rather than like actual spoilery content, cutscenes, etc. But I also think some people say, oh, you know, if you haven't played it at this point, but there's just so much out there. Like, there's always going to be a game that you could spoil for me if we're playing it by a certain amount of time there, because I can't play everything that exists, even if I do want to. So I think for me, spoiler talk, I think it should, if you want to talk spoilers, put a little thing in where whatever you're posting on or talking on, just to say spoiler content warning. I think that's the rule at any point in the game's life cycle. I used to do it all the time if I was posting spoilers, like when I played Final Fantasy 16. Every time I posted like a thing so that anybody who didn't want to see it could just keep it stepping. So that's my kind of take on spoiler stuff. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so what happened for me, I'm with you, kind of both, by the way. I think as long as you tag it, totally fine. Like, it's really easy to mute spoiler, like the word. And so, like, in general, you can avoid any content around that. And I think it's also good practice for people who are creating content on games to get good at discussing games without spoiling them. Spoiling is a strong word, but you know, like, there's ways to get around saying like, I just did this thing without actually saying I just did this thing. So like for me with Saros, I've seen every single boss in the game. I'm about halfway done. Like that's the game's been out 4 days, and I've had some people ask me like, "Have you beat the game yet?" I'm like, guys, the game has been out for me. It's been out for 2 days, but for some people, at most, it's been out for 4. Like that's just like insane to me. And then secondarily, the thing I was alluding to before is unfortunately, yet again, a PlayStation first party game has been caught up in the culture war, and people thought it was a great idea to crap on the story and post the exact thing that happens in the story. And I'm like, and I read very quickly, to my detriment sometimes, and I saw it and I was like, are we are we serious? Like do we like I get it. It's for rage bait, and like I understand the purpose of those specific people doing it. But the only reason I brought it up, it's just really frustrating for me these days that like I want to engage with the people who are playing these games because I'm playing them too, and it's fun to talk about them with friends. But I'm also incredibly cautious when it comes to like posting things, even like the week of release. Just because I think there's ways to get around, like you can engage with people in the comments where it's like, obviously, if I'm engaging with you in the comments, we can have a more back and forth about this and talk about things. But in my main post, stay away from like talking about this stuff because I'm just like, ah. So yeah, I'm bummed for sure. I was curious where Saros was going to go, and now I already kind of know. And I think it's going to be hard to not have that color my review in some way, because I think the natural uncovering of things is very important to the gameplay process. And I just wanted to have that out. The other thing I've been playing is Diablo 4. Yeah,
You playing Paladin?
I am playing Paladin. I skipped Vessel of Hatred, so I'm actually going back and playing through that campaign currently, and then I will jump into the new stuff. So all I can really comment on is the Paladin. Diablo's sick, dude. Like again, just another game that just shoots your dopamine through the roof. It's just good.
Yep.
Like you have a handheld or really any PC can run it. Like even the older games, they're just awesome. Clear hordes of demons, get cool gear, do it faster. The Paladin's sick. Another game with excellent sound design, visual design. Hats off to Blizzard. I think Diablo 4 is a great game. I thought it from the beginning. I know it's gotten a lot better since then, and they've changed a lot, but I can confirm that the new class is very cool.
I thought, so is Vessel of Hatred not the new DLC, or is that the big DLC pack?
No, so
I thought it was.
the first DLC was Vessel of Hatred. I believe the new one is called Lord of Hatred.
Oh, that's probably why I was confused. That reuse hatred.
Confusing,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, because the first one is about the return of Mephisto, which is one of the brothers of Diablo. He's kind of one of the main characters in D4. And then the new expansion is actually like Mephisto is in it. Whereas like Vessel of Hatred is like the lead up to Mephisto like becoming part of the story again. But yeah, they cook with D4, and it's like it's a very expressive game. Whereas I would say D3 and D2, you kind of have to use a lot of your imagination to see like what the abilities and stuff are using. D4 is very good at like showing you just how powerful your character is. So yeah, super fun.
Oh, they did do that. It is Vessel of Hatred and Lord of Hatred.
I thought-
Why
I
are they
thought
so
Silly, innit?
confusing? Like, what
See,
the fuck?
it's the same thing with Exodus and The Expanse. I get those mixed up all the time. That was
Yeah. Yeah, and they're very similar as well, aren't they? The games as well.
exactly.
Yeah. What was it I was gonna say with Diablo? When did Vessel of Hatred come out?
Vessel of Hatred 2024. I'm looking at it right now.
20. Okay, so
Yeah.
that it feels. I thought it was just last year, but that's just my old.
It's probably
brain
because of the same name. You probably were just
Yeah,
like, oh.
that's because I thought it just came out. Like, why have they got a new DLC already? Anyway, yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah.
I beat Sifu
Mm.
after Pragmata.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
I don't have the true
What
ending.
age? What age did you beat it at?
I had a cane. I'll tell you that.
It's a hard game, man.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
fucking game.
brutal. I wanted to platinum it, but I couldn't.
Neither could I.
So I was
No,
going to write a
man.
review, and then people told me that there's a true ending that I need to do before I should write.
Yeah,
the
I think,
review.
yeah,
Is this accurate?
yeah.
I got to go through it for a
Yeah,
true ending.
Don't
beat
know
it
if you
once.
have to do it to write your review, but there is a true ending, and it's brutal to unlock it.
Dude,
I think you have to beat it quite young or
No.
something
like
like that to get the
25.
true ending. Yes, blood.
That's
That's
an
what ruined my platinum run, bro. Oh, was that just for an achievement?
So the achievement
I
is
thought it was-
beating it without aging, but the true ending apparently comes from not killing any of the bosses. You have to
Oh,
take them out
yes.
non-lethally.
That's difficult as well. Yeah, that isn't easy to do either because it is like an extra step to the boss fight, and it's quite difficult to pull off. Yeah.
Dude, those last like 3 bosses are so hard.
I actually found none of the bosses to be overly challenging once I understood the no, not as a flex. This is actually like
No, Matt, you just go and get the true ending and get back to us.
from a game design perspective, this is one of the few melee combat games that I've played that forces you to actually like utilize its systems to beat the game well. So like I was brute forcing. The first boss kicked my ass for 6 hours. 6 hours.
Really?
I have a lot of shit
to
going on.
learn.
6 hours I do not have time to give, and it took 6 hours. But the second boss teaches you that like if you hold down block, you can like evade and dodge just by like flicking the sticks. And so you can basically no hit that boss by doing that. And that got my brain rolling. So I'm like, is there a move that allows you to like no hit the bosses essentially? And they all have like an exploitable weakness that basically lets you no hit all of them until the final boss. And then the final boss kicked my teeth in for so long. The final
it's
boss
hard.
is insane.
He's so hard.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Is it the it came out after Sekiro, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
It came out in 2022, I think.
Yeah. I thought that was cool that it's the only game I've seen that uses Sekiro's like parry bar, stamina bar, whatever it is.
Yep.
You know, the thing at the bottom, your stance bar.
Yep.
But yeah, highly recommend. It's a very short game. You could probably beat it in under 12-ish hours. But it's super replayable. You can obviously go through and play the levels, try and be as young as you can. I very much enjoyed it. I was probably, I think I got to the last level at 29 and I beat the game at like 68.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I got
Shit.
my
I think mine was about the same. Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah, I'm looking
that
at my
last-
Sifu. I played Sifu for 12 hours. It took me to beat the game, and I got 61 achievements.
That's actually pretty good. I don't even think I have that many.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
I
so
tried.
I'm looking at it. I'm seeing all your achievements right now, Maddie.
Yeah. So you can see I did beat the final boss. I'm not a fake gamer.
Yes,
I
you
actually
did.
did it.
You did.
yeah, that very fun
Um,
game. Shout out Boy's Broken Heart on Twitter for the recommendation. I was looking for a game to play and hopefully beat before Saros came out, and he told me to go play that, so I did, and it was very good.
nice. Nice.
Hell
Is
yeah.
anything else?
Nice.
Nothing from me right now.
No. Well, I mean, we could go over some more topics, or we could wrap it up here.
I think this is pretty good. We did 2 hours.
Yeah.
I think we're solid. Yeah, I think we can
Give it a
call it.
wrap.
As always, guys, thank you so much for joining our humble podcast. I have been Jay Plays Games, joined by.
I'm Fume Gaming. You can find me on Twitter at FumeGaming95 and on YouTube at Fume Gaming.
Nice.
And I'm Matt Ghosty. You can find me at It's Matt Ghosty on Twitter if you want to get in contact with me directly. If not, it's at Life is a Game magazine, which is basically everywhere else. Yeah, thanks for hanging, guys.